the Cleveland Cavaliers make a conference final run? Because I already am going to shoe in Boston. I'm going to shoe Boston in there because they're the most loaded team in the NBA. Can Cleveland, out of maybe Milwaukee, New York, and if Joel Embiid's healthy, Philadelphia, if he's not, then, they're done for. Can Cleveland make a run to the conference finals?
I mean, they can. They have the talent to, like you said. My biggest thing is I don't know how the team fits together and functions completely well. I feel like they have some clashing skill sets amongst their core guys because, like I said, I like the fringes of their team. I like what they've done on the outside of the roster, but the inside seems to have a lot of clashing. Like, can Mobley and Jarrett Allen play together? And not just play together, but play together in the playoffs? Is there enough ball to go around for Mobley and Darius Garland, who are both better with the ball in their hands? Like the Bucks, I'm not super confident in right now. They don't look like they have that spark or that energy. For whatever reason, there might be some bigger issues there. The Knicks are not currently healthy, but with a healthy roster, I think they have the second best team in the West.
In the
East?
Way
everything's the East, the way everything's been going for them after making, picking up Burks and Bogdanovich at the trade deadline. They added OG this year. Still have a ton of assets left, but they might be the deepest team in basketball just because they have so many guys that can contribute and play well. And Philly, we'll have to see. Embiid is healthy, but even then he hasn't historically been known to show up in the playoffs. So the Cavaliers can do it. If I had to say, will they do it today? I would say no, but they have the talent to. Like, they have the ability with 4 guys who are all-star caliber players.
I agree with you. I would honestly put Cleveland, even though they're on this hot streak, as my 3rd or 4th best team in the East, with Philadelphia currently being injured. With a healthy Philadelphia team, I'd put them at 5. Just because I cannot get out of my brain what has happened to Donovan Mitchell the past 2 off seasons. Jalen Brunson has turned into his daddy, took him back home, and sent him on his way.
Every year, man.
Mitchell, no show the past 2 years facing against that guy. So if they match up, there's nothing that tells me that the same thing won't happen again. Okay? They also don't have a guy like Giannis who can just turn it on. Now, Giannis last year was kind of a no-show in the playoffs, right? So I don't really like any team outside of Boston right now if I'm in the Eastern Conference. New York is probably my number 2 pick to go along with you. They're probably my second favorite team in the East if I had to choose to make it out of there, just because they play the way that they want to play and it transitions over to playoff basketball. They play physical, they play a little bit slower of a pace, and they have veterans everywhere that show up big time in the playoffs outside of maybe Julius Randle. Right? Whereas Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, historically a great playoff player unless he matches up against Brunson. Joel Embiid, no show in the playoffs 9 times out of 10. So I don't buy into this whole Cleveland run yet. It wouldn't surprise me if they made an Eastern Conference Finals run, but they're definitely not my first pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even on your side in terms of I would probably pick a healthy Bucks over them, unless there's bigger issues there. I kind of have a feeling, I can't say for sure, but Dame and Giannis might not be vibing so well like we think, but that's remains to be seen a bit. But the Bucks, I think, could beat them in the playoff series, mostly due to the experience that they've already had. The Knicks' biggest problem is I just don't feel like they have a 1A kind of guy, like a guy who can be the best player on a title contending team. Jalen Brunson is fantastic. He's great, but I still think he's like a number 2 guy as of right now.
Well, I'd argue that Cleveland doesn't have that either.
I mean, but I think Donovan Mitchell is a lot more of that guy than Jalen Brunson. I mean, I think Donovan, the way he's played this year, has gotten a lot closer to that line. I mean, the biggest thing with Donovan is when he matches up against Brunson, it hasn't been good because he can't guard nobody. But like we've seen what Donovan's capable of, and he's not going to go every single playoffs and just not show up. Like, everyone has a bad series or a bad year here and there. I think Donovan's getting closer to that guy. Will he be that guy for sure? Remains to be seen, but he's definitely learning a lot more how to control the game at his own pace, at least. And yeah, I think he's more that one guy over a Jalen Brunson, in my opinion. Just, he's more athletic. He's a little bit bigger.
I would honestly put them close to the same tier at this point. Brunson is having an all NBA caliber year. He is playing fantastic. And he shows up in the playoffs. At least the past 2 seasons, he's balled out.
Yep.
Whereas the past 2 seasons, Mitchell's playoff has been trending downwards. Right. But man, it really is just a cluster of 4 or 5 teams that are ultimately probably going to lose to Boston in this conference finals, as long as Boston's healthy. So I don't really like anyone outside of Boston to win at this point in the East. But Cleveland, I guess, has as good a shot as anybody else to knock them off. So
if there were a team to beat Boston, I would probably go with Milwaukee, but that's a big if. I wouldn't say today that's the case. That's if they figure it out, if they figure out how to guard better, if they figure out how to play defense, if Dame and Giannis can figure out how to play together. I think it can work out for that team. Yeah, exactly. That's why I say not today. They're not ready to beat Boston today. Doesn't feel like anyone really is. Cleveland or New York would give them the best run for their money right now, based on how both teams have been playing and trending upwards. And then the moves the Knicks have made. But like you said, it really feels like Boston's to lose right now. But who's to say that they're not the Niners of the NBA world, and they just
that means they just made the finals and lose.
Yeah, so the West is definitely, I think, has a lot more teams that are at that top tier level than the East does.